Hello again, this is Robert Mason with CAD Concepts. I wanted to show you something that I was recently helping another client with that I thought everyone might benefit from. It's importing a drawing, typically from an AutoCAD file, and they wanted to use it as a profile to do an extrusion. It's a complicated profile, which is why I wanted to show you, because more often than not, you're going to have lines that are overlapping, lines that are overextended, or lines on top of lines and you don't see them. So let's just start by creating a sketch. We're going to do it on the XY plane. Do a right click, do an import, and here I'm going to import this pattern. And this is the complicated pattern. It comes in from an AutoCAD file, has a bunch of layers, which I don't need. So I'm going to eliminate importing the layers that I don't need. You'll see that the base is needed and the zero layer is needed. So I'm going to leave those on so I can import them. And then here's our pattern. Now, right away, I know there are problems because there are red dots. Whenever you see a red dot, you know that there's a problem with the profile. So you should go in and manipulate the dot until it goes away. Now, in this particular case, I know there are more problems than they're actually located here, because I've already corrected these, and then I found that it wouldn't extrude. But here's what happens when you try to extrude that particular profile. So here we have a 2D profile. We go to our features, we go to extrude, and we want to create a standalone part. And this is the section that I want to extrude, and I'm going to extrude it to 1 inch. And then the check mark lights up. You'll hit OK. And obviously it's going to fail. It tells you that there contains empty or lines that are overlapped or not closed. And that's typically what's going to happen. More often than not, if you have a profile this complex, you're going to have problems. In AutoCAD, it's not an issue because you can have overlapping lines and you'll never see them. And when the drawing is plotted, you're never going to see them. So it's not a big a deal in AutoCAD as it is when you're creating models. You can't have overlapping lines, you can't have lines that don't close, and you can't have lines that extend past each other. So what we're going to do here is we're going to edit the part, and you can see that what we've got here, I window the part. What you'll see here is these are all the constraints that are done, the perpendicular and vertical constraints. But here, if I come up to the top of the screen, I'm going to say clear any duplicates. So I'm going to click on that, and it tells me it finds 16 lines that are a problem. So then you say OK, and you'll see a few more actually popped up than what were there. So now you'll just scroll in to where they are, do a right click on it and say connect that. And if it doesn't connect, then what you'll do is you'll just move it away, bring it back. You'll see the red dot goes away. Don't know why that is, but I know it works, so sometimes that's what I do. And here again, we're going to go through, we're going to correct all of these errors. I'm doing right clicks. And come down here. So you're going to have to watch me as I go through and correct all these errors, but I think it's going to be a lesson that's worth watching, because I find I do some things that tend to work, but you're not really sure why they're working. So that, because sometimes when you do a right click, if it's overextended, it's not going to correct itself. Now, like that one there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just trim that out, and then I'm just going to take this and extend it to there. But as you notice, you'll saw that there was actually another line there. So I'm going to trim that, and now you'll see that it's clean. So there was a line on top of a line. Just doing a lot of right clicking. So sometimes if there's a minor gap, you're not going to see it. It looks like this one's going to give us a little trouble as well. So let me come in here and delete that. You'll see that there was a line on top of a line. So if there's a space, it's going to correct itself. But if there's a line on top of a line, it may not. So you'll have to just go in and trim it. Or sometimes just remove the line and put another line in its place if it's easy enough to do. And let's see if we've gotten them all. All right, I don't see any red dots anywhere. The red dot again is going to indicate that there's something wrong. Oh no, here's one here. And that would have failed if we hadn't caught that one. All right, so now I think we've gotten all of our dots corrected. I'm just scanning and double checking. So now I'm finished. So now I've got my profile. Go back to my extrude, create a standalone part. I'm going to tell it what section I want to extrude. And this, I'm going to leave it as a 1-inch extrusion. And now I just clicked the checkbox. And now you'll see that we have a completed extrusion. Now that was a complicated profile. And if you find yourself, you have a profile like this, more often than not, it's not going to extrude the first time. There are going to be problems with it, especially if it's coming from AutoCAD. In AutoCAD, not everybody designs cleanly, and sometimes they'll overlap lines because they forgot, they walked away, they came back, they drew a line again, and they don't see it because it's on top of each other. So if you're going to do a complicated extrusion, follow this example and remove the red dots, right click, connect, or delete, trim it, and then put the line back again until the dot goes away. And that should help with your complicated extrusions from profiles that are drawn in AutoCAD or in another program with a DWG file. I hope that helps. Have a good day.